Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the crew. We got the entire starting five in the building, and we got Justin back with us as well. Appreciate what you're doing for the show, brother. Flannel, how you doing this morning?
You know, I'm all right. The Tigers series was not great. The entire road trip was not great, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more, and I've got quite a bit to say about that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like they had an opportunity to go 3-3 against the Yankees and the Guardians, and they gave up a couple games across those two series. I can't wait to hear what you got to say. Broder, what up, though?
What up, though? He took the words right out of my mouth, Kool-Aid. Tigers. They should have swept that series. They leave 1-2. The road trip 1-5. I think Flan and I both have a lot to say about that.
I can't wait to hear it.
But we got some fun stuff planned. I'm excited.
Let's rock. Chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of this show. So go on ahead, people, smash that like button to support the Woo Crew. We appreciate it greatly. Once you've done so, encourage somebody else to do the same. And what up, though, to our elite booth as well. If the chat is the most important, our booth, they are the second most important. Shout out to the number one draft pick, Detroit's number one draft pick, KG.
What up?
What up, though? And Woodward Sports' MVP in the TD booth, Mr. JBSMOOOOOV.
Hey, what up, fellas?
What up, though? Mr. Broder, you want to tell the people what we will be talking about today?
We're talking Tigers. We're talking with Doc Maakaron. We're talking NFL. I know we're about to probably wrap up our NFL draft coverage, but I really wanted to talk to you guys about some of the best fits around the NFL. Where were some of these guys outside of the first round that landed in places that I just think are, or that we think are good fits? So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to end with a little another. We have a theme of threes today, and we're going to end with some schedule talk in the 9:15, 9:20-ish segment, talking about 3 rematches that we're going to face in the regular season. So I'm excited. We got a good show planned. Tigers, Lions heavy. May talk a little basketball at the beginning here because there's a pretty boring announcement around the NBA, or I thought it was boring. We'll talk about it. That's what we're talking about today.
You know, let's kick it right off, man. Let's get around the city. I see the first thing on the list, man. How lame was that NBA MVP award announcement to Nikola Jokic?
Yeah, and I want to ask you guys' opinion. Like, I was watching there was a pregame show, the NBA on TNT, and just like kind of randomly, Charles Barkley just announces the Kia NBA MVP award, and it was very low key. It was like, and your 2024 Kia MVP is Nikola Jokic.
Like, yeah, your appetizer will be out shortly.
Yeah, and then Jokic came on. We know Jokic isn't like the most enthusiastic guy, but he came on and was just like, all right, whatever. Like, isn't the NBA MVP supposed to be like a big deal? What are we doing?
I wonder how much Jokic plays into how they decided to do this thing. Because after seeing him win the finals and win the MVP of the finals as well, that award, he just kind of was like, whatever. I just want to get back home to my GOATs. So part of me wonders if the NBA was just like, you know what? If he's going to win it again, we'll give back the same energy.
Yeah, I mean, when he even heard about that there was going to be a parade or whatever, he's like, no, I want to go home. And honestly, and the funny thing is, and this isn't hate towards Jokic whatsoever, but at the time, people kind of thought, oh, it's so adorable. He's Nikola Jokic, he just wants to go to Serbia. He doesn't even like basketball, and he's the best in the world. But I don't know if I necessarily like that anymore. I would rather have somebody who actually burns with passion over it. But at the same time, he won Finals MVP last year. He won regular season MVP. So what really can you say?
Maybe he's just bored with the game at this point in time.
Well, I mean, he better get unbored because he has been slipping these last couple of games. Because there's a lot of things that went wrong for the Nuggets in these last couple of games. Nikola Jokic hasn't played well either, though.
That's true.
The Timberwolves have pretty much locked a lot of people up. Nikola Jokic included, though.
Yeah, the Timberwolves defense has just been absolutely impressive. Just as a team overall. I still got problems with Rudy Gobert winning his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award, but I'm not going to take that away from him. It's this era of NBA basketball is the reason why I believe he has that. But the the Timberwolves, man, their defense has been phenomenal.
Do you guys agree with Jokic as an NBA MVP?
Yeah, it's who I pick.
Who else would be? I mean, I'm a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander fan. I thought what he did for the Thunder was special. But, I mean, it's not to take away from Jokic. He solidified himself as probably a top 5 big man of all time. Or top 10.
I would say top 7 or something like that. I think SGA deserved it. I think Luka deserved it. I think Nikola Jokic deserved it. I wouldn't have had a problem with necessarily any one of them. I guess if you were to ask me in a pinch, kind of the number 1 seed tie, I might have given it to SGA. But, the Thunder were also, Jalen Williams was phenomenal. Chet Holmgren was phenomenal as well. All of these guys had squads around them as well. Obviously, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, and then, of course, with Dallas.
And Jared Goff.
You got Kyrie and, Gafford and all that. But, yeah, I would probably say SGA would be my number 1 pick. But there's no issue with Jokic winning it at all.
Yeah, and I feel like the NBA is such a narrative-driven league that SGA is the type of player who, if he repeats this year's success next year, then he'd be one of those guys kind of in line to get it. But it's like they make rookies earn a foul. It's like, but isn't it a foul? And I do believe this year is one of those years with SGA. They're like, okay, go do it again. We'll see that you get this award next season.
Hey, they're undefeated in the playoffs so far. So are the Timberwolves. It's most likely that they're gonna have a new champion this year with a new young player is finally gonna get it done. Whether it's Tatum, whether it's Anthony Edwards, whether it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, whether it's Luka, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, we shall see. It's going to be fun.
What I'm excited about, and I think is bringing me back to the NBA, having me gravitate back towards it, is we got young stars like SGA and Anthony Edwards that are kind of taking over, and I love watching both of them. They have different styles of the game. They're so great. And they're so young too. Like the future is bright. If that's the future of the league, that's the kind of thing that will bring me closer.
Yeah, even on the kind of secondary of it all, we were talking about Jalen Brunson before the show. It's like, wow, where did he come from? I believed that he was going to be a good player. I believed he was worth the money. I didn't think that he was going to have this type of effect on the game overall. Justin and I were just talking about this. He put so much more space in between the type of player he is and the type of player Tyrese Halliburton is. That it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, man.
Jalen Brunson went from the perception of not being enough help for Luka to being, oh my God, how did the Knicks make that deal? To slowly climbing the ranks of all-time Knicks to where if they win this series, he's a better Knick than Carmelo Anthony. I don't care what anybody says.
Damn.
I don't care what anybody says. Carmelo Anthony's overrated anyway, but Jalen Brunson doing all of this, obviously he's got a nice team around him with a lot of tough guys like Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby and the like. But Julius Randle, even though he sucks in the playoffs, it's still impressive that he's kind of a 1-star team right now. Do I think they have enough to beat Boston? Absolutely not. But if they get these 2 series and they make the conference finals, you get Boston in New York, you get games at Madison Square Garden. Are you kidding me? Jalen Brunson deserves a ton of credit for that.
Oh, yeah. Man, you know what? The NBA playoffs they've been a breath of fresh air, in my opinion, and I think it has a lot to do with what Broder was talking about as well. Kind of seeing these new faces as now the stars of the league, with some of the older faces being the guys that are kind of going out early in these playoffs.
And they play hard in the playoffs. Flip a coin if you get the stars playing during the regular season, flip another coin if they play hard. That's why it's been so difficult for me to truly follow regular season NBA on top of the Pistons just struggling, to say the least, over the last couple of years. So I just want to see people compete, and it's bleeding down to college basketball too. The more it becomes a business, and this conversation is probably going on too long. Maybe we have the load management conversation at some point. It's hard because these guys they're getting paid so much money that they are truly an investment. It's hard to argue with an owner or a team trying to protect hundreds of millions of dollars of their investment. But at the same time, this game is meant to be played. There are millions of people who would die at the chance to be out there and play as hard as they can, including the guys who go up against Amon-Ra St. Brown in the LA Fitness Gym.
Flip a coin.
He was hooping.
Yeah,
he was
worries
hooping.
me.
Flip a coin.
It worries me.
You know what, though? I want to be able to have that conversation at some point in time. because I think it's important. We, especially as Detroit fans, have seen the NBA change. Depending on your age, you've seen it change 3 or 4 times, 2 or 3 times after your Pistons have won championships. And it just seemed like something changed where they decided we're going to try and coax more offense out of our teams. And I believe personally that it broke the game. With that, though, you also saw there be kind of this push in the NBA to have stars teaming up with each other. That happened, about
LeBron?
About 20 years ago?
The decision.
Yeah, and that, when you talk about the competition, obviously when you get to the playoffs, now you have more potent teams choosing to see, hey, look, or if not choosing, fighting to see who's going to be number one. During the regular season, I think a lot of these superstar teams know, well, we're going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
It's a push button thing. And I think that's why they had to create the play-in. That's where you kind of start to get that first aspect of true competition on a consistent basis in the NBA. Then you get to the playoffs and they ramp it up again. I want to be able to have that conversation sometime.
Yeah. As impressed as I was, as surprised as I was at how exciting the mid-season tournament, what was that called? The one in December. The fact that they had to do that to like bring some excitement to the middle of an NBA season, it's blasphemous. I mean, we grew up watching the Pistons and that 03-04 team, like every single game they were playing hard. It's too bad. The NBA has gone all offense. We need some of that offense on the Tigers. Like we need them to channel some of that offense. Although yesterday it was the bullpen that blew it. It was mistakes on the base paths. It was mistakes. It was a plethora of mistakes that led to the Tigers' demise. Flannel, they should have swept the Indians. I mean, they should have taken 3, right?
I'm broken. This whole road trip.
Baseball's a funny game, Flannel.
Well, it's not funny anymore. I'm not laughing. Do you see me laughing?
No.
I am not laughing. I'm not laughing at all. This whole road trip. And I'm going to try to be as brief as possible because we're going to talk about AJ Hinch in the next segment. But I'm going to go with some things that are not necessarily AJ Hinch related at first. This road trip was potentially season torpedoing bad. It was an absolute kick in the dick. That's what it was. The Tigers were 1-5 on this road trip. They could have easily been 5-1. Listen to these. Listen to these things that I'm about to say because it's impossible to happen, but it happened.
They should have been 3-3 at the very least.
Absolutely. Well, first off, here I'll just give a general statement. They wasted excellent starting pitching 4 times, twice by Reese Olson, once by Jack Flaherty, and once by Tarek Skubal. Reese Olson, in 2 combined starts in this road trip, 11 innings, 1 earned run. And in those 2 starts, the Tigers are 0-2. This season, Reese Olson is 0-4 with a 2.52 ERA.
Crazy.
Last season, Garrett Cole won the Cy Young with a 2.63 ERA. Reese Olson damn near is about to be like, trade me already. That's insane. In those 4 starts that I mentioned, the 2 Reese Olson ones, the Tarek Skubal one, and the Jack Flaherty one combined, 23 innings pitched, 5 earned runs by the starters, a 1.96 ERA. The Tigers are 0-4 in those games. The Tigers had 2 losses in which they entered the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. So the bullpen didn't do them any favors either. The Tigers had 3 losses during this road trip in which they gave up 2 earned runs. In every single one of those games, you should win about 90% of the time when you give up 2 earned runs. The Tigers were 0-3 during that stretch. In those 4 losses, the Tigers scored a total, in the ones where they had excellent starting pitching, the Tigers scored a total of 8 runs and blew 2 saves. And the only starter that he didn't get a win, but the team got a win in games they started was Kenta Maeda.
Yeah.
2 innings, 7 runs. Ah! No. So I'm broken right now. And I will say this. And Kool-Aid, you have alluded to this, and you're right. The Tigers have an 18-game stretch coming up where you've got a lot of winnable games. You got home the Astros, home the Marlins. You got Pittsburgh. I know you got the Diamondbacks on the road. You got Toronto. You've got a pretty favorable stretch of 18 games. They better go at least 11-7. If they go 11-7 or better, I will kind of be back on board. But this road trip was just all of those numbers that I gave you make it even more frustrating because the starting pitching is good enough. It's just every other aspect of their team, whether it was defense, whether it was bullpen, whether it was offense, all played a role in just completely letting them down during that road trip. 1-5 is completely unacceptable.
Especially after seeing how they played like Eduardo O'Neill said, the Yankees just clear. But when you look at those two series against the Yankees and the Guardians, and you realize that they didn't just clear them, they didn't just beat them. The Tigers they weren't outmatched. They weren't they didn't have not enough talent and things. This was a situation where they cost themselves, and that should bring on a completely different level of feeling. I get you.
Yeah,
I get you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in the chat who think I'm overreacting and are kind of upset with me and all that, but it's not just that they're losing, it's how they're losing. You can't They could have been 5-1. They had one win and then 4 games in which your starters gave you a 1.96 ERA. And you were 1-5. Yeah. I can't.
They got a lot to work out, don't they?
They do. We got to talk about AJ Hinch and his responsibility or lack thereof in the next segment. See if there's something he can do to work this thing out.
Absolutely. Hey, and if any of those Tigers want to work on their hitting when they're not in the facilities, go to Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals.
Except Javi Baez.
Hey, ship him out. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Essential.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy. You're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Glorious.
The new Glorious Ice Water Bubble Hash pre-roll now has diamonds in it, everybody. Look, they are constantly pushing to create the best cannabis experience just for you. The perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flowers with only the highest terps and making the best, hey, even better. Glorious Cannabis, check them out at your local retailer, or you know what, you can always check them out online at gloriouscanna.com.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward Chat family. We appreciate you guys choosing to start the day with the Woo Crew. We got all 5 in the building, plus Mr. Justin. Thank you for what you're doing for the show. We appreciate you, brother. We got to get back into these Tigers. You guys see Flan over there. He's not smiling at all. At all. The Tigers have... Yesterday, baseball was a funny game. Today, baseball can go to hell, huh?
Well, I'm always going to love baseball. It's just that the biblical part about it is that the one game the Tigers won was when Kenta Maeda started. It's just when Reese Olson started twice, the Tigers walked off the ball field angry, and when Kenta Maeda started, it's like, it's okay. I mean, it's obviously not okay, but like, it didn't cost us anything, but we still won. Reese Olson at this point should demand a trade. He has a worse ERA this season than Cy Young winning Garrett Cole had last year. And he's 0-4.
He's not happy. You know what? I do got to ask this. Do we need to take a step back from crowning AJ Hinch the next Sparky Anderson? What you thinking, Mr. Broder?
This is a tricky one because it seemed like he was so perfect at the beginning of the season. Every move he made seemed calculated. It seemed to work out. But over the last couple of weeks, there have been more and more decisions that I started to question. It's one of those things. It's like I know he's got to make what does Spenny say? He's got to make a salad out of some spoiled vegetables. He's got to, he's trying hard here, but some of the decisions I just don't completely understand. So I'm not giving up on AJ Hinch. I still have respect for him, respect for his baseball mind, respect for how he mixes emotional intelligence in the relationship, the knowledge that he has of his players off the field and on the field, their mental makeup. That's part of what made him rise to glory in Houston. That's part of what made him well-respected around the MLB is his ability to connect with young players, with old players, with international players, with American players. So I'm definitely not giving up on him, but there have been decisions over the last couple of weeks where I'm like, man, what are you doing? And I put this in the show sheet because I didn't understand bringing in Foley yesterday in the 7th inning.
Yeah.
Brought him in. That's your closer, clearly your best bullpen pitcher. You bring him in the 7th, and you only pitch him for 2 outs? Like why are you not keeping him for the 9th? I don't understand. And, I've got 6 or 7 decisions over the last 3 to 4 weeks that I question. But before I go into that, what do you guys think? Like, where do you stand on AJ Hinch as a whole now?
I want to recuse myself from the early talk because when they started out 18-13 and it was very obvious to me that AJ Hinch had pulled a lot of strings that had worked, I'm cool with it. I was pretty much 100% satisfied with the first 31 games. And just before I go on, I got to read this from Just a Fan. Broder said this would be a roller coaster season before game 1. The Tigers won a few games and some anointed them Central champs. Now you're off the bandwagon, Sam. Here's the thing. I am more up. I think a microcosm of how I feel is that just according to what Garrett Cole did last year, Reese Olson has given you a season's worth of Cy Young level pitching, and he's 0-4. That's kind of my problem. Those games like that. The fact that I see them potentially wasting excellent starting pitching and for the most part an excellent bullpen. That to me just cannot happen. I would hate to see a team that has division title level pitching, but 65 win hitting and other stuff. But anywho, I'm going to move on with that. My thing with AJ Hinch, and this is something where I think moving forward, he needs to work on a little bit. And a lot of people might disagree with this, but hear me out. I truly believe, even now, despite all the struggles that they had in this road trip, they have a lineup worth of players who can get the job done. You have capable hitters on this team. You have Riley Green with an OPS of 888, Mark Canna 811, Wimseel Perez 874, Kerry Carpenter 802, Matt Vierling 742, and Andy Ibanez 868. That's not that bad. I mean, that's actually not bad at all. That's very, very good. And of course, Parker Meadows was sat down. And the reason I mention this is because I obviously mentioned how the lineup let the Tigers down, the bullpen let the Tigers down from time to time, and so did the defense. But AJ Hinch had a really, really bad road trip. And let me just explain, and I'll try to be as brief as I can, but I think he made some mistakes in all 5 of the losses. In the first 2-1 loss, Colt Keith was in the starting lineup and Andy Ibanez was out. Matt Vierling was also out of the starting lineup. Matt Vierling has a batting average, at the time had a batting average of 279. Andy Ibanez had a batting average after the game of 318. Colt Keith, 156. To where I'm kind of saying at this point, at some point you just have to play your best players. In the 5-3 loss, Colt Keith, again, in the lineup over Andy Ibanez, although Andy Ibanez comes in as a pinch hitter midway through the game, Colt Keith's batting average at the time, 156, Andy Ibanez, 333. I think you just got to play Andy Ibanez from the beginning. In the 5-2 loss, the eighth inning loss where Shelby Miller ended up getting the loss, Parker Meadows got the start over Kerry Carpenter. Parker Meadows, 097. Kerry Carpenter, 258. Those are their averages at the time. And then, of course, Shelby Miller, he did get the loss. He had loaded the bases, and then they tried to do the Andrew Chafin lefty-lefty with Juan Soto. It didn't work out. I don't necessarily blame Hinch for putting in Shelby Miller because at the time, he'd had his struggles, but his ERA was still under 3. And I guess I'm not married to the lefty-lefty matchup, but I see what they were doing with putting in Chafin to get Soto. And sometimes Soto's just going to get you because he's arguably the best offensive player of this generation. In the 2-1 loss to Cleveland, you had Colt Keith and Parker Meadows in the lineup instead of Andy Ibanez and Wimseel Perez. Colt Keith and Parker Meadows after the game. Their averages were 158 and 096 respectively. Andy Ibanez 276 and Wimseel Perez 296. And then in the 5-4 loss to Cleveland, you had Ryan Velotti, whose reward for a great game was grab some bench. Matt Vierling was out, and Mark Canha was out. And the whole pitching Foley in the 7th. I understand that Jason Foley had recently blown his first save of the season. And even in that game against Kansas City, he gave up 2 runs with a 3-run lead and kind of merchanted a save, even though he didn't pitch well. I understand all of that. But Jason Foley, for the most part this season, has been a dominant closer. So you put him in the 7th, so where you can't bring him in. And I know that was kind of a fluky home run with a really high launch angle. But then again, Andrew Chafin comes in, and David Fry, who really hits lefties hard, hits the game-tying home run. I think that was a bad decision. So my point is that moving forward, I only really blame him for one mismanagement of the bullpen, but you just have to play your best players. I don't care about what position they play. I don't care about defense or any of that. With Parker Meadows being sent down, it's going to make it a lot easier, but I truly believe, until I'm proving wrong, that this is a lineup that can be good enough as long as they play their best players. I don't want to see Colt Keith out there every day. I don't want to see Javi Baez out there every day. Hell, even Spencer Torkelson, I think he's a guy who could improve. I mean, he still leads the AL in doubles. It's tied for the AL lead in doubles, which is crazy. You don't really have a choice at the catcher position, even though both of those guys suck right now. It's just... I disagree a lot with what AJ Hinch did with the lineup on this road trip. That's the overlying point of it all.
Yeah, and I do wonder with AJ Hinch how much of it is the Aaron Glenn effect. The players he does have versus the players that he does not have. I wonder if that is influencing along with the youth movement, because they got to see what they have out of the young guys. That is something that is paramount, especially if you're going to pay a Colt Keith. You got to know that these guys either have it or don't have it as you decide to move forward. Because I don't think the Tigers are in a position where they can just kind of wait around for another 2, 3, 4 years and just see how the young guys work out. Go another 2, 3, 4 years and don't bring in any more bats to kind of augment what you have. So I do wonder how much of this is that Aaron Glenn effect. He's kind of managing to what he has rather than being able to kind of have this roster that's filled out with the correct type of bats. I don't expect AJ Hinch to be perfect, but I do wonder how much that is weighing on his managerial decisions.
Well, obviously they don't have the best talent. I gave you examples of how sometimes I think you're sitting some of your best guys, but then playing Javi Baez every day. You're sitting Matt Vierling and Mark Canha, like, for example, yesterday, and you're playing Javi Baez. You've had games where you played Parker Meadows and sat Kerry Carpenter or Wimseel Perez. That, to me, is just, at this point, if you want to actually win the division, if that's your goal, that can't happen as often. You got to put your best guys out there. And I understand guys like Matt Vierling aren't necessarily used to, I'm not saying play them 162 games. It's just, it's hard when you have so many players on your team that have gotten, I would say, more at-bats than they should, or at least than the results should indicate. And of course you have like an Andy Ibanez coming back from injury, and he's been playing very well. He had a 4-for-4 game with a walk and 2 home runs. You've got Gio Urshela coming up soon. Coming back from injury. He's about to go on a rehab assignment. I think that the Tigers moving forward are capable of having a lineup that can put out some runs. If you play Colt Keith every day, if you play Javi Baez, if you're forced to play Jake Rogers or Carson Kelly, that could hinder things. And if Spencer Torkelson obviously doesn't get better, maybe they got to send him down too. I think that they have a lineup that can at least be enough that can support their pitching and their bullpen as long as they play the right guys.
It feels like this year is one of those years where all of the teams other than the Lions are assessing. The Pistons just came out and flat out said it. Hey, yep, this is an assessment year. Really don't expect much. I was telling people that at the beginning of the season, if they play to their potential, no injuries, expect 29 wins. If they get injured, expect probably 20 wins. You know, and when you look at what the Tigers are doing as well as the Red Wings, I think Steve Eisman is another one of those guys who kind of just put it out there as well. It'd be great to make the playoffs, but that's not what we're necessarily building for at this current juncture. Our building is for the longevity of what this franchise can do. And I wonder if that's where the Detroit Tigers are right now, and how quickly will we be able to see them make decisions on players like Javi Baez and others, some of the young players that you just got to make a decision on.
Yeah.
Send them down, trade them, get rid of them, no matter what it is across the board. I'm hoping that this is that season, or at least half a season, that they're going to get into that.
Well, and Broder, you put a couple of things in the chat that if you want to go ahead and read them, I think they're excellent points.
Yeah, no, it was just to kind of double down. I know we got to get to Doc here in a second, but things like why not walk Anthony Rizzo in the 9th inning of that first game against the Yankees? He ended up having that game-winning single. Jeez. Or even like mid-April, Riley Green, he plays 19 straight games and you get your first game against the Twins, and then you decide to give him a day off? Like, why don't you sneak that in against the A's or against the Rangers? Or even against the A's when Kerry Carpenter, they pinch hit Kerry Carpenter late in the game. There was a righty on the mound for the A's who was struggling. He had just walked 2 players in a row. So you bring in Kerry Carpenter in, which encourages the other team to bring in a lefty reliever, a much sharper pitcher, and it doesn't go well for the Tigers. So they're all kinds of big moves, how they set the lineup, moves he makes during the game, but then even those decisions late in the game. So he hasn't been perfect. I'm not giving up on AJ Hinch by any means.
Yeah.
I still think he's the right man for this job, but I'm guilty of probably crowning him a little early as like the perfect manager. He hasn't been perfect, but he's the right man for the job.
And there's never a problem with trying to keep things 100, especially with the responsibility of covering these teams, talking about these teams, trying to dissect what we do see, and being able to present that information as well. I think that that's the best type of sports coverage you can possibly get. And I can tell you guys where else you can get something that's the best. Where? Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They've been family and locally owned for over 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food and nutrition experts to help you. They offer same-day local curbside and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best at www.premierpetsupply.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians, they take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. It is 24/7 professional monitoring. Call anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you as long as needed, because it's technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that number is 1-800-STAY-OUT. What up, dog? People, welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. As always, we appreciate the chat family, all of the support, all the listeners, all the time, definitely. And make sure you guys keep up with the rest of the network too. But for the Woo crew, man, we got the whole 5 in the building. We're grateful that you guys are here. But this segment, and I love our segments, I love our guests. They're all elite in my opinion. We got the doc on John Maakaron, publisher of All Lines on the Sports Illustrated platform, as well as host of the Detroit Sports Podcast in a clean Detroit Tigers hat. Very clean. Definitely tap that.
Absolutely, fellas. Good morning. What's going on? I tune in and I hear Detroit Tiger slander. No. No, baby, the champs. The champs are here. We're talking about a baseball team that is 500.
I actually want that.
People, it's baseball and it's not the most popular sport, but I'll tell you this. The Tigers have potential, but it's a 500 team, and that's what Scott Harris told you when he said prior to the season, hey, we aren't going to add veteran bats. There's no room for them. That basically told you all you needed to know, that this is a young developmental team that's going to have ups and downs. It's a 500 team. It's annoying because we're all desperate for the next step, but there's some things to be positive about, but there's also some things I see that would frustrate a lot of Tigers fans, like you guys were saying about AJ Hinch, especially yesterday. Putting in a closer in the 7th inning in a basically non-leveraged situation was crazy, because then when you needed him in the 9th inning in matchups where clearly yesterday the Guardians had the analytical advantage over the Tigers pitchers, it ended up being a disappointing series loss. But in the end, it's an 85-win baseball team that is looking for development from young players. The concerning part is some of those young guys aren't developing where they need to be.
Hey, you know what, Doc? We were just talking about it. AJ Hinch, if there's any reason to be worried about him, I just want to be able to get your quick answer on that as well.
Well, I would say worried is probably not the best word. I think that the man is clearly over-managing this baseball team. A lot of decisions that he makes with the pitching staff, sometimes they tend to work out. But at the same token, in a game like you saw yesterday, you saw some situations in which some of the decisions that he made, you can question. But look, when you see a manager that has had the success that AJ Hinch has had, he knows the game inside and out. It's just unfortunate because he's hamstrung by the talent that he's given. I mean, you cut payroll from a roster that wasn't good last year. So it's just disappointing because you know that if you stocked him full of legitimate Major League Baseball ready talent, then this team could potentially do some things. But the hitters are young. Some of your key hitters right now are not performing consistently. Spencer Torkelson's drama and situation in his hitting woes are really disappointing. Colt Keith has been a guy that got the contract, but he probably needs a stint in the minors. Parker Meadows hasn't delivered as much. And so you're just forced to use these guys like an Andy Ibanez to try and get by in a Canna. When Andy Ibanez and Canna are your best hitters, that's a big problem.
See, I disagree a little bit about Mark Canha. I value him a lot more than you, and Riley Green's your best hitter. Look at his career on base percentages, but those don't matter because he doesn't have athleticism or whatnot. Anywho, but John, all right, I got to ask you an actual question because
round one,
because the chat really does not like me today. I thought that we could all commiserate over a 1-5 road trip in which the Tigers completely wasted 4 brilliant pitching outings, but they say that I'm overreacting. They say, are you not on the bandwagon now? You just crowned them Central champions about a week ago. Yeah, a 1-5 road trip does that to you. So the question I have for you, Doc, is, am I overreacting or should I take a deep breath?
Wait a minute, the chat doesn't like you today. I thought you were the most network maybe in Detroit sports media. I think Woodward would be probably would be within their rights to have a roast of Sam Reynolds there.
I'm sure they would.
I think it would be great. Flannel Sam roast. I think everybody could take their shots and let everybody talk about your opinions on Darren McCarty, your crazy opinions about Ben Wallace. Now you're taking your whack opinions about the Tigers too? Hold on. Let's set the record straight. You do have a lot of good takes about the Tigers and your concerns, and I know your hope and optimism tries to come through. But in the end, you look at this baseball team, and it's a baseball team that's constructed now in a model that, teams that aren't spending money are trying to construct, using analytics to try to get the most out of young talent. And there are talented individuals, but they're probably 2 seasons away. So that's where everybody said, look, if you just would have added 1 or 2 more bats this off, I think this baseball team could be 7 to 10 games above 500 with the roster that they have. So you look at this baseball team, and again, day to day, what's amazing is, if you want to look at the positives, that pitching staff is and the bullpen combined is among the greats in the league right now. And it's really, these pitchers duels, if you're a fan of that, I know more people like the higher scoring games and things like that, but the Tigers pitching has been stellar, and the rotation has been impressive to see. Casey Mize coming back. You have an ace in Tariq Skubal. The bullpen, when managed properly, I think has a chance. It's been concerning a little bit that Shelby Miller has taken a little bit of a step back. But right now, the pitching has been great. It just stinks because the offense can't match it. So it's a 500 team. Even when they have – look, guys, now baseball, like the chat has said and many people will say, is a long, drawn-out process.
Oh, yeah.
But in the end, water will find its level, and I think this is an 85-win team. The blessing is for those that have been concerned about a 1-5 road trip, the next set of opponents are garbage. You can go potentially 10-6, 12, 11-5 over this next stretch of games because you're not playing great opponents, and you get back at home in the comfy confines of Comerica Park. This baseball team has a chance to get a little bit of a cushion when they go up against better opponents. You recognize they're going to be outmatched.
Definitely, Doc. So Friday, tomorrow, the rookies report. We got rookie mini camp starting. I'm not going to ask you about the rookies, though. I want to ask you about a rematch, actually 3 rematches from last season, because the Detroit Lions, and this is going to be a segment for the crew later on in the show. The Lions rematch their 3 playoff opponents from last year in the regular season. They play the Bucs at home, they play the Packers at home, and they play the 49ers away. Which of those 3 rematches are you, A, most excited for, and B, which will mean the most to the Lions during this next season?
Yeah, I'm very curious. Wednesday, the schedule comes out. I'm excited. We all do the schedule game the second it comes out. I want to know, one of our columnists at All Lions, he wrote a piece. His opinion is the Lions should open the season on the road against the 49ers. That's intriguing, whether it's in the opener or wherever that game takes place. You want that revenge against the opponent that came back on you and prevented you from getting to the Super Bowl. That still, everybody has a bitter taste in their mouth from that game. And I think it's going to be a marquee game because I think the Lions right now are poised to be a little bit better than the 49ers. And to me, though, Matthew Stafford at home, I think the fans will finally get a chance to cheer him. The corny video will be played. We can rectify the boos that upset him and his wife and all that nonsense. That game will be interesting as well at home. Because of the fact that the Rams and the Lions have so many ties with Jared Goff. The schedule, man, I can't wait to see how it shakes out. To me, clearly I think the Rams game is going to have the most emotional ties to it. The most in terms of our assessment of the football team will be the 49ers, but I'm looking forward to see how they play against the Houston Texans. That's my favorite game on the schedule. Yes, I can't wait to see them match up against a team that rebuilt in a way that was really interesting and a little bit different than the way the Lions did. And I can't wait for this schedule because once it comes out, we can now dig in to the 2024 season. And this football team now is being talked about right now as being a Super Bowl contender. And it's great to see.
Hey, Doc, and Broder brought up rookie minicamp, and I got to get your opinion of the Lions' new rookies. Who is the rookie that you expect to make the biggest impact in year one?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be Terrion Arnold. I think he can compete to be a starter year one. I love his swagger. I love what he brings to the table. Look, and here's the tough part about the cornerback spot. It just takes time to be able to adapt to the actual speed of an NFL offense. I mean, you look at these wide receivers, so adept at getting open, precise route running, their ability to, have more reign with the officials because you can't really touch a wide receiver. But I want to see Terrion Arnold press man. I want to see him compete. I see him getting 3 to 5 interceptions early on. I just think that there's a special quality about him right away. You see it from the interviews that he's done early on. He's got swagger. He's got the ability to kind of pump himself up and believe that, hey, I can be a pro football Hall of Famer. Those are lofty expectations. But when you have to have the ultimate confidence when a team trades up for you. And I think that he's going to come in now knowing that, hey, Brad Holmes has not ever selected a cornerback in the draft. And they did their work on me and they traded up for me. That's going to give him some confidence. And then with the veterans in the room, that'll definitely help his development. I think he's going to make an impact. I think that the battles that we're going to see at training camp coming up later on in the summer, and then even in rookie minicamp on Friday that we're going to be able to see. I think that the competition level between him and some of the undrafted free agents is going to be fun to watch.
Hey, and Dak, just one more for me. Just kind of looking at what the Detroit Lions did, and when they stocked up on that secondary. And when you look at last season as they approached the playoffs, it was almost like a battle of attrition from the beginning of the season to the players they lost as you went along. How much do you believe trying to stay fresh and being having depth and being ready for the postseason, being one of the more kind of less injured teams, do you think influenced their draft strategy?
Yeah, look, it's always interesting when you look at the construction of a football team. They clearly needed to upgrade the defense. But to me, I just think that when you have more playmakers along the defensive line, that should also help the secondary. I think DJ Reader signing, very much key. You got a new now defensive tackle, a veteran, in Kyle Pecco that's now in the mix in competition. Ali McNeil taking a step forward. So the upgrades along the defensive line, combined with the upgrades in the secondary, just gives you more chances to make plays. Aiden Hutchinson, I think, will take another step forward, maybe be in that 12 to 15 sack range. So with that said, I just think when you see this football team, they're going to lean on that offense to keep things going, play from ahead, be able to hold leads, pound the football. And guys, the blessing of this football team is you saw what the rookie class of 23 was able to do last year. Now only imagine what they're going to do this year. Gibbs, Laporta, and Jack Campbell all expected to take big strides forward. And then you add in the mix and somebody that potentially is going to break out in Jamison Williams. Now you have the combination of an offense that is going to be really hard to stop. And in my opinion, the best defense is a stellar offense. And if this offense can figure out those third quarter woes, then forget about it. Nobody's going to touch the Lions. And I think they're going to have close to a similar record as they did last year. And that's what gives this team the ultimate confidence. Just getting that taste of the ultimate glory should give them a lot of motivation to get things done. So I'm excited to see the start. I mean, it starts with rookie minicamp, the competition, and we get a chance, our first look at some conversations with the young players that the Lions added.
Well, Doc, as always, it's awesome having you on each and every week. It's funny. We get great information. Love your breakdowns. And overall, you're just a good person to have on, bro. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
You're the man, Doc.
John
It'll be a great summer.
Publisher of all Lions on the Sports Illustrated platform, as well as marvelous host of the Detroit Sports Podcast. Have a great day, brother.
Yes, guys, set it up. Roast of Sam Flannel. Invite me. It might be very entertaining.
Oh, Doc, you would be there without a doubt. You would be one of the special guest roast masters, Andrew Schultz, one of them. Or Nikki Glazer.
It's all fun and games until the end of the roast when Flannel gets the mic.
Oh, he would tear us all apart.
We'll see. But I can laugh at myself. I laugh at myself on a daily basis, so it's all well and good.
You know what? That's an awesome segment each and every week. I can tell you guys about something else that is awesome too. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back and relax and let one of Lady Jane's talented hairstylists make you look and feel great. That is Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Visit Dispo Dispensary today for deals too good to miss. Meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere and shopping experience. Try the freshest inventory for Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
What up, dope people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. I just saw the Mr. Broder in the chat.
Did you see that?
The stream.
Did you see his flannel?
I did. You're on a roll.
Expressing his expressing his appreciation for the John Maakaron.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you again. You see it?
I thought you were talking about the roast.
No.
I said, would it be the biggest giveaway in Woodward Sports Network history if we offered up like 5 minutes of being a roaster on the roast of Sam Flannel? And then actually someone in the chat said, Xavier D is in the chat basically a roast of Sam every day.
Yeah,
that's also true.
That is true.
That's also true. So nonetheless, that was pretty funny. Actually, before we get into the next segment, while you got the camera on me, shout out to the Shaquille Oatmeal. He put in the chat, and actually he just became a member, so thank you so much, the Shaquille Oatmeal. He said, I want to thank everyone at Woodward Sports. So this is from Wake Up Woodward to the heavyweights all day long. A relative I live with has recently passed away, and if it weren't for all of you at Woodward, I wouldn't know how to start or end my days. I thought that was worth reading.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, man, sincere condolences to you. I'm really sorry. Yeah. We are all really sorry for your loss, but we're so thankful to have you and have this platform to help you get through this time. Like, sometimes it seems so a dream. It doesn't seem right that we get to talk about sports for a living, but hearing things like that from you and how much it means to you, it means everything to us. So thank you, the Shaquille Oatmeal.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you were able to see that as well.
Yeah,
definitely, and shout that out. Because we're not lying when we tell you guys that chat family, you are literally the biggest and most important part of this show. So why we do what we do is why we try to get better and improve every single day, and anything that we can do to offer condolences, prayers, thoughts, or even more tangible ways to support, we want to be able to do that. So definitely, thank you for that, bro.
Oh, you bet.
Thank you.
Sometimes, hey, we talk sports. We're a family here. Like we say, we're a family with the chat, and you're the most important part of the show. It is, and hearing that stuff, it means a lot. But more importantly, just I'm sorry for your loss, man. If there's anything we can do, we're here for you. I know we're going to get into more Lions in this. We are almost at the 9 o'clock hour in this second hour, but I've been thinking about this segment for a couple weeks, or since the draft. I'm really interested to see what you guys think. I don't know if Kool-Aid, you want to open it up, but just talking like around the NFL, some other draft picks that I think or that we think are really good fits for the player.
Yeah, definitely. I will start this off actually, man. It was a pretty cool exercise. I'm learning from my resident ball knowers, football knowers on this panel on this platform as well. And you got that graphic ready?
I believe
I will give you guys my top 3 fits. And I know Justin, he liked my number 1 fit. Keon Coleman, FSU, MSU wide receiver to the Bills. Obviously, they got to replace the production of Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. I believe that Keon Coleman, even though a lot of people make a big fuss about his speed, I think he gives Allen a target in the middle of the field, in the red zone, as well as if he's in the slot. I really like what Keon Coleman is going to be able to bring for the Bills. And I do. I think that he actually has a little bit of potential to be better than what some people, I saw a lot of predictions listing him as a potential wide receiver 2, maybe even a wide receiver 3 based on his speed, based on his ability or inability to get off the line of scrimmage. But just his ability to catch the football. He is versatile. He was a former basketball player as well. And I just believe that kind of everything that he has will actually fit within the NFL and give Allen a competent target at wide receiver. Number two. Well, I got Roger Rosengarten.
I like this.
Yeah, this one to the Ravens. I got to make sure I say that as well. Second round. I went all second rounders for mine. And I tried to pick players that I believe from the second round are going to be able to step in day one and start right away. When you look at the Baltimore Ravens offensive line, losing guys like Zeitler, losing the tackle Moses as well, Roger has an opportunity to be able to step in day one and start right away. And I know there's some people who made a fuss about his performance in the national championship game against Michigan, but you want to talk about a guy who's been absolutely solid. You want to talk about a guy who's excited about being able to be in Baltimore and protect the quarterback in Lamar Jackson just as well as he did in college. I really like this one. I think it's a great fit for Roger. But number 3, Mikey Sandristil. Mikey like Nike. And I believe that a lot of these players were value picks in terms of where they were selected as well. That's another thing I wanted to be able to look for. The cornerback going to the Washington Commanders. I believe that his skill set, despite his height, 5'9", I believe his skill set is going to be one that is felt a lot more than the size. Pause. But Mikey Sanderstill, he wraps up, he hits, he has great instinct, great IQ, but I believe the intangible that's going to help the Commanders the most is his leadership ability and his ability to do anything that the team has asked him to do. He did this very well with Michigan. And I believe that with what Washington's trying to do overall in the front office, you want to be able to bring in guys that have those types of leadership qualities. Part of me wonders if Brad Holmes did not select Brian Branch last year, who has those same types of qualities, is Mikey Sanders still higher up on their board this year to kind of place a little bit of that same or similar style? But Mikey Sanders still to the Washington Commanders, I believe his leadership is going to be something that they absolutely need. You look at Michigan during this time, switching positions, giving his all, and being a part of the renaissance that is now Michigan football. Washington Commanders, they're trying to have a similar type of rise. Why not have a leader like that on your squad as well, who can contribute, to Flannel's point, on the field too, not just with the motivational factor. So that's my top three.
I love it. Nice. Crew, and I'll start with you, Flannel. Just any quick comments, anything that stands out?
I mean, the Bills needed a receiver. They got the guy that they wanted. The Roger Rosengarten is actually listed as on their ESPN depth chart as their starting right tackle, opposite Ronnie Stanley, which would be a hell of a pick for them if he pans out. I don't know if it necessarily will at that position, but we'll see. And then the Commanders, they just need secondary help in the worst way.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Forbes was not good last year. Their number 2 corner is listed as Benjamin St. Juste. I think it would have been more appropriate if one of those, if like a Kamari Lassiter had fallen to him, or even like Cooper DeJean. But Mikey Sanders still, as your plug-and-play nickel, I don't hate it. I think he will start day one for this weak Commanders secondary.
Love it. Any quick comments, KG or JB?
No, everything looks right. Keon Coleman, of course, being the best fit. They absolutely needed a receiver. Still yet to be seen what Mikey can do with the Commanders. Not necessarily the player that I don't believe in, but it's the organization. So
that's fair.
We'll have to see. But yeah, I like this list though. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a bad list. I mean, shout out to Keon Coleman. The Bills fit is a little off there.
Why are you shouting out to Keon Coleman?
Former Spartan dog.
Oh, so that's Sparty representation on the show.
I got to show you this video too, real quick.
To the regular menu.
Hey, sir, can I?
He was taking orders at some chicken joint the other day too.
Dog, he's been hilarious.
He's a man of the people, and he's definitely a hilarious person. I think the Bills got a nice wide receiver right there for him. But yeah, not a bad pick.
Yeah, I'll say I wasn't a huge fan of his, and to be determined on the Bill. It actually might be a good fit. I didn't want him with the Lions, but the more I see him, just the more I like him. He's kind of goofy. He's funny. I just think he's got a cool personality I didn't see before. So that has nothing to do with football. But
talk about a personality change between Keon Coleman and Stephon Diggs.
Seriously,
yeah.
Seriously, maybe that's what they need to lighten it up a little bit in Buffalo. Who knows? But Sam, should we go with you, Flannel? Your late round draft
now
pick.
He's smiling.
So basically, this is a non-first round draft pick.
Sam's
The best fit, not in the first round.
No, it was always in good fun, no matter what. But without further ado, I'll start from 3. At number 3, I got Cam Hart going to the Chargers in the 5th round. He was one of my favorite late round corners. It was him and Renardo Green. He was phenomenal, and he graded out really high in man coverage. You basically didn't throw at him if you were an opponent last year. You allowed no touchdowns, only 15 receptions. He has some athletic limitations, which is probably why he was drafted in the 5th round. But in this Chargers situation, you have Asante Samuel Jr., but you also have Christian Fulton as your cornerback too, who sucked last year. His passer rating allowed was approaching 130. However, the previous couple of years he was better. So I think Cam Hart for next year isn't going to necessarily start right away, but both of those guys who I mentioned are free agents after the 2024 season. This could be more of a learning year, but if Christian Fulton slips, Cam Hart, based off of his, I would say, ability to play the cornerback position and his size, is a guy that has a pretty high floor as a 5th round pick. Number 2, I got Roman Wilson going to the Steelers. As great as the Steelers have drafted wide receivers over the years, coming into the season, George Pickens was your number 1, and your number 2 is, according to ESPN's depth chart, Van Jefferson. you need another one. You need a guy in Roman Wilson who can be that slot demon, who could be that weapon for Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And I think Roman Wilson is a guy that has the ability, with his speed, with his quickness, to separate from nickel defenders in the NFL and be deadly. It wouldn't shock me at all. I've always said Roman Wilson will be the best Michigan pro from this draft, and I think he might even end up being like an Amon-Ra St. Brown Cooper Kupp type. Although that's a little bit lofty, it wouldn't shock me at all, and I think he fits in perfectly with this Steelers team that already has their number one outside receiver. They've got a number two in Van Jefferson who's coming off of a really rough year, and even when he's right, he works best from the outside. Give me Roman Wilson as that fit. And number one, I am really upset that the Packers got this guy. I did kind of a breakdown of him early on. And here's my point about Edgerrin Cooper overlying, before I even mention any of his measurables and whatnot and his fit with the Packers. If you were to give me a choice between drafting Jack Campbell or Edgerrin Cooper, I would take Edgerrin Cooper. I think he's more talented. I think he is one of the most athletically gifted linebackers you'll ever see coming out of a draft. He's just got some, the knock on him, which I don't necessarily agree with, is that he sort of doesn't anticipate, he reacts, but he's got that athleticism in which when he reacts, he finds you. He graded out as 85 or higher in PFF in pass coverage, run defense, and pass rush. He played a lot of snaps at all positions, but where he really excels is getting to the quarterback. 85 pass rush snaps, 88 sacks, just 85 pass rush snaps, 8 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, and the Packers, they need a linebacker. They lost Devondre Campbell. Isaiah McDuffie is not a starter. He shouldn't be a starter. So basically right now, you put Quay Walker and you put Edgerrin Cooper, a guy who's just athletically as gifted as they come and could even be that effective blitzer that the Packers need. And I am just really, really upset that the Packers got him. And oh, by the way, he played 60-plus snaps on the defensive line if you need to mix some things around as well. So that's my list.
Talk dirty to me.
I love it. We're now 6 for 6 guys that I had in my larger group that I was pulling from, good fits in the draft. I love it. I mean, all three. Roman Wilson, I think, fits perfectly, whether it's Russ or Justin Fields. They need a reliable guy that can deal with the improvisation of plays breaking down and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And Edgerrin Cooper with the Packers, as a Lions guy, I'm not excited for it, but it's a perfect fit in that defense.
Well, Silky Johnson just mentioned before we move on, and I forgot to mention this, but the Deontay Johnson is no longer with the Steelers, so that also develops an opening. Like I said, the Steelers draft good receivers, but a lot of them flame out. Hello, Juju Smith-Schuster. Hello, Deontay Johnson. Hello, Chase Claypool. But so they need one.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point by you as well, brother. Just seeing how Roman Wilson operated within the Michigan offense. Mm-hmm. A lot of times with J.J. McCarthy on the run, after the play broke down, having to just throw it up, and we saw Roman Wilson make some amazing catches. We sat right here in the studio doing a watch party and saw him make amazing catches, especially in the national championship.
He made that one against Alabama.
Insane.
In the red zone, in which you could argue he may have even saved a bad play for J.J. McCarthy. But we're not going to talk about that because it was a catch by Roman Wilson.
And then he caught the touchdown. Saw interception, and then it was in Roman Wilson's hands.
And then guess who caught the touchdown? Roman Wilson.
Yeah. And you said about the Michigan offense, the Steelers, if they were ever committed to the run, it's this year. Drafting Zach Frazier, Fatanu. You got Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and 2 relatively mobile quarterbacks. Justin Fields, one of the most mobile. Russ Wilson, getting up there in age. But you know what I'm saying? They're going to be running the ball a lot and then having to play action off of that. So any comments from you, JB or KG? And you guys are up next also. We're going to do one more before break.
Yep. I love this list, Sam. I hate that Edgerrin Cooper went to the Packers, like you said. But I like all the players and the teams that they went to. So great job, Sam.
Thank you. Just looking at that linebacker at the top. Edgerrin Cooper.
By the way, shout out Dad with Tourette's. He was hit. His family was hit, or his house, his neighborhood location was hit with the weather the other night, and they had lost power. And he was telling me on Facebook it was going to be a couple days. What was it? Consumers Energy, a couple days before fixed. He said he showed up at home and he's got power. Let's go!
Hey, that's what's
shout
up.
out.
Yeah, I feel like those things need to be. Not having power is. Realize how blessed we are normally, but when you have it, your whole life is turned upside down.
Yep. Bro, I made my list last night in the dark.
No way.
We lost power. We got some crazy wins that kind of just came by. Lost power. The baby slept through it all, so that's a blessing. Wow. But the kids were running around. They have like their little flashlights and lights and everything. And made my list then, sent it in, was doing the graphics in the dark and everything.
Go, man.
My phone
Trooper, man.
got 32% power left. So
hey,
let's rock. First thing in the morning.
Let's
but
go.
The power's back on. So
all right, JB, KG, who's up next? JB, you throw up one of you two, and that'll be the decision.
I'll go.
All right.
And I'll try to make this brief because I know JB's list is, very important, man. We got to get to JB's list. But my top 3 late round draft fits, starting at number 3, and nobody said we couldn't use Lions players, so I had to cheat, man. Christian Mahogany. The more and more I see this kid, the more and more I think this was one of the absolute steals of the draft. He gets to come to the best offensive line in football. That's just first and foremost. He's going to be able to learn so much from Frank Ragnow, Kevin Zeitler, and Graham Glasgow, to say the least. Has a potential to be a future starter with us, man, but the big thing with him is the culture fit. And Brad and Dan love the leadership qualities that this guy has. You know, he was a 2-time captain, fought his way back from a nasty ACL injury, and produced in this past season. So I think he, culture fit wise, is absolutely perfect for this team. And a lot of the stuff that they were doing at Boston College scheme wise will fit perfect for what the Lions are doing.
No doubt.
Especially at Boston College, they ran heavy play action, a lot of zone running schemes and zone blocking. He's going to fit in just fine, especially when it comes to pulling guards. Oh, man, Boston College did that a lot, and what do the Lions love to do in a lot of their run sets? They love to pull some of their linemen, so he'll fit right in, and he'll also have time to develop as a pass rusher. So Christian Mahogany at number 3. At number 2, I got Adisa Isaac, man, a name that a lot of people I feel like slept on in terms of the higher names in the edge, prospect pool. But Adisa Isaac, man, from Penn State, he's replacing Jadeveon Clowney. He's going to be on the same line as Justin Matabuke, and he gets to reunite with his former teammates, Odafe Owe, sorry if I butchered that, and Jordan Stout. And we just know the Ravens, man, they have a reputation for developing young edge rushers, man. So
nasty edge rushers.
He's gonna fit in just fine with that Ravens defensive line. And at number 1, I feel is arguably the best fit in the entire draft. Junior Colson, Michigan, man. Sam, you're very familiar with Junior Colson, so are you, brother. The Chargers needed help at linebacker. That was pretty obvious, but the biggest thing, of course, he's reuniting with the coach that he won a natty with, Jim Harbaugh, and even more importantly, he's reuniting with Jesse Mentor, his defensive coordinator, which they're going to implement pretty much the same exact system that they had from Michigan to the NFL. Probably change a few things here and there, but expect him to hit the ground running. He gets to play alongside Khalil Mack. He's going to hit the ground running. Look for Junior Colson's name this year. Mark my words, he is going to make an impact for that Chargers defense. But that is my top 3 late round draft picks.
Hey,
Flannel?
No, that's a solid list. I mean, I guess you could say Christian Mahogany's cheating a little bit, but what did we say though? This season, maybe get some spot duty if there's any injuries, and then next year, if Ragnow's gone and a Zeitler step in as the starter, because I think he has a really, really high floor, especially for a 6th round pick. Adisa Isaac, I mean, they lost Clowney. At this point, when it comes to their outside pressure, it's Kyle Van Noy. Odafe Owe is pretty good. David Ojabo has been hurt a lot, and I don't know about him. But Adisa Isaac, that is a need. Justin Matabuke gives you that inside pressure. You need another outside edge rusher to kind of add to that rotation. And then Junior Colson. The Chargers lost Eric Kendricks and Kenneth Murray. And I'll tell you what, Junior Colson to me is going to have 100 tackles as a rookie.
Yes.
He's going to be a day 1 starter. You said it, having Jesse Minter as his defensive coordinator. Who gets their college defensive coordinator as their pro one ever?
And their head coach.
And their head coach. Nobody ever does. And I think he's just one of those all-everything type linebackers who in the 3rd round at 71, he has the talent of somebody who should be drafted higher. I think it's just positional value. Yeah. Junior Colson to the Chargers will be huge. He will hit the ground running. He will have over 100 tackles as a rookie. So that's a very solid list, KG.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But I'm hoping that I love the Christian Mahogany selection as well, because kind of to play off of the question I asked Doc, it looks like a lot of these players are going to be in a position towards the end of the year, especially when you're talking about keeping some of your starters and your vets fresh, or if there's any injuries, I'm hoping that a lot of these rookies are ready and talented enough with what Brad Holmes sees in them to be able to step up and play some important parts. You look back at last year's playoffs, and there were a lot of players who had to step up and play bigger roles than they had all season. So I'm hoping he's one of those guys that as you get down to the end of the season, that he fits kind of exactly what they're looking for as a depth piece.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it. Yep. I dig it. Let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll finish with JB and me. And but I like all 9 of those picks. All 9.
Oh, yeah.
9 for 9.
9 for 9.
Let's rock. I can't wait. Where are we going to next? We got Les Stanford or Swiss? Swiss. Let's rock. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your carrier doesn't slip in any extra fees or raise your deductibles. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today. His number is 313-530-1698. Or you can find him online at swissins.com and tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
What's good, man? How you doing? What you got for me today? Let's have a look, man. I see the one I want right there. That's the one I'm looking for.
Welcome to the winner's circle, Blake. Hey. Figer Law. All we do is win. All we do is win.
Hey guys, are you tired of wearing that same old Detroit sports merch?
Tell me about it.
Well, let me tell you right now, it is a new era in sports wearables with new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Look, do yourself a favor, go to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. We are dropping new designs every single week, but I got to tell you about the ones we got right here. I know Kool-Aid probably has a couple of these in his closet right now. The Welcome to Detroit signed t-shirts.
I got one with your name on it, JB.
Nope. Doesn't have my name on it. Not at all. We also got the Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes election t-shirts, hoodies, hats. We got everything. And we also have the Tigers gear as well, too. I even know Sam's a little down on them right now. They'll turn things around. They have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But go to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab, get swagged out. The Lions season is fastly approaching.
Let's go. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. As always, we appreciate the support that you guys give the entire Woo crew, as well as the entire network, Woodward Sports. We appreciate you guys. Hope the day has started off well. But as always, man, Woodward Ave is jumping with Woodward Sports today. We got to get back into the top 3 Thursday. This focus is on the NFL draft. Flannel, myself, KG, we've given our top 3 lists in terms of the best kind of late round fits for the NFL draft picks, right?
You know what we forgot to mention when we opened this up?
What?
Why we're doing a top 3 list.
You know what? Tell them.
Because the top 5 lists are way too boring. Right?
Oh.
No, you know how Big D Energy. I think you guys are doing one today. A top
Shots
5 list
fired.
today.
Shots fired.
Which top 5 was more was top 10 was too boring, so we decided to shrink it down a little bit more. And let me tell you, actually, top 3 was hard. Like, just having to pick 3 when you got a group of players, it's hard. But, hey, top 3 Thursday may be turning into a regular thing.
Okay.
Let's rock. Let's go.
Let's go.
I like it. You know what? In the City booth, we got Woodward Sports' MVP, JBSMOOOOOV. We got to see your top 3.
Man,
Oh,
y'all ain't
boy.
ready for his list, bro.
Man, I hear it's groundbreaking and one of the most intelligent lists ever.
No,
I'm
no,
sure KG
no.
would like that.
No, it's not groundbreaking at all, and I can't believe I actually have one of these guys on my list to begin with, as it is.
JB McCarthy.
I'm gonna go a little bit different. Sorry, this is gonna be all offense for me.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all offense, and mainly focusing on the wide receiver spot. So my first pick at number 3. Mr. Luke McCaffrey.
Ooh.
I know.
Okay.
Mr. Luke McCaffrey. I got to give this guy a lot of credit because he's only played collegiate football for 2 years. And at Rice, might I add too, who knows where Rice is, to be honest with
It's
you.
in Texas.
See, exactly. I wouldn't have known where that was anyway. But he's produced over
know where
30% of Rice's receptions right now. And honestly, I feel like this is another option for Jaden McDaniels to kind of ease into that rookie season right now. So that's my number 3 pick right there. Number 2, I got to go with Jalen McMillan. He is over in Tampa Bay right now. And, of course, you guys know all about the other Washington players. That's Michael Penix, Roma Duze, Polk. But what if I told you that this man right here led the Huskies in receiving touchdowns and yards over Polk in 2022? This man is very impressive right here. I definitely think he will compete for snaps as a rookie. And not to mention that Chris Godwin is a free agent after this year. So this is a perfect landing spot for him. And at number 1, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Do it. Do it.
Jesus.
I actually don't know who it is. Let's go!
Roman Wilson. Jesus.
That's a Spartan fan, by the way, everyone out there. Not homers, not slappies, not, Sorry, go ahead, JB.
Let's go.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm hanging my
I
head
love it.
on this
It's
one
honest.
as well.
I love the Michigan representation this morning.
But the man dropped a little bit. He was wide receiver 14 off the board, which, isn't great. But still, I don't think that Pitt is the worst. Oh, KG.
You know I had hit you with it.
I don't think that Pitt is the worst landing spot for him. They do have to figure out their whole QB issue right now, whether they want to go long-term with Russell Wilson or if Justin Fields is the next one up. But you got to keep in mind, too, as Flannel said earlier, Deontay Johnson has left, and that vacates at least 20% of their targets. So this is wide open for this man right here. And alongside of Pat Fryermuth and George Pickens, their competition at wide receiver is really light.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect landing spot for him as well, too. And I can't believe I did that, but I'm hanging my head.
He's
but yeah,
spitting
Roman
over
Wilson.
that background track right now.
Roman Wilson.
JB McCarthy.
Hot fire.
I like
Damn
it. It's
it.
honesty.
Yeah.
I like that.
He's being real.
I didn't have Luke McCaffrey on my list, but I don't hate it at all. Like going into that situation, and you need a reliable slot. Like he can kind of do it all. He's got good hands. They already got some stud wide receivers, so what the heck?
Yeah, I mean, there's a major drop-off. I mean, I think there's a major drop-off from Terry McLaurin to Jahan Dotson, and then Jahan Dotson to everyone else. And Luke McCaffrey, as of right now, and this isn't the Bible, he's listed as the number 3 receiver on the Washington Commanders ESPN depth chart. And, it's funny because I didn't even think about Jalen McMillan to Tampa Bay, but you're right. Chris Godwin could be out soon. Right now, he's listed as the 4th receiver after Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Trey Palmer. But yeah, when you're a later round draft pick, you're not expected to be a starter right away necessarily. This might be a perfect position for him to get maybe not as many targets, be in certain packages and formations, or just in case of injury. But you know what? You're supporting Baker Mayfield. And as much as I hate Baker Mayfield, you might as well get him some more weapons.
Yeah.
You might as well. Why not?
Hey, shout out to Trent. He said go green, but that U of M fight song goes crazy.
It's objectively the best.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No.
That's fair, JB.
Leaders and the best, man.
I think we got one more to whip out.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know he likes whipping shit out.
It is a perfect tease because tomorrow there is going to be a mock returning. I haven't even told you guys this. And I'm not even tell you what type of mock.
Baseball mock?
No, maybe. Possibly. Maybe, probably not, though. It's not, but it might be. So tune in. It's going to be at 9 o'clock. There's going to be
confusing.
Exactly. There's going to be another big mock at 9 o'clock. You
Hide
guys
your
have to
wife
show
and
up
kids.
at 9 to see it. It is Lions related. So take it for what it is.
King of the Jungle size mock.
It was huge.
All right.
Huge. It was tricky to make, though. But my top 3 late round draft picks, my perfect, what I think are perfect fits outside of the first round. At number 3, yeah, go blue. It's Blake Corum to the Los Angeles Rams.
Hey,
Of course.
go blue.
Yeah, I genuinely believe this. Like, put the Michigan bias aside. I couldn't think of much better of a team. You know, maybe the Lions, actually, although he's not getting number 2 running back reps on the Lions. But he goes to the Rams. He's able to split carries with the all-pro running back, Kyren Williams. So we know just from that, they prioritize the run game in L.A. They now have Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. They have a high-powered offense, but what they did this offseason by signing Jonah Jackson, say what you want about Jonah, his strengths are in the run game. So they're improving the interior of their offensive line with Jonah, moving Steve Avila to center. He's an upgrade from their center last year. And then signing Kevin Dotson, re-signing him to a contract extension. Maybe overpaid, maybe not, but he was one of the best guards in football last year. So Blake Corum gets to go to that offense running behind one of the best interiors of the interior offensive lines in the NFL. I think it's a perfect fit. At number 2, this one sucks. It's Austin Booker. It's the edge rusher for the Bears. They got him in the 5th round pick 144. I really wish I didn't have to put him up there, but he might not start day 1, but he doesn't have a lot in front of him in terms of his chances to go start opposite Montez Sweat. They've got elite linebackers in Chicago. So they got TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. Their secondary is pretty powerful. Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brister. They got pieces on the defense. So for him to come in and be able to rush opposite Montez Sweat, the only thing that maybe kept me from one, or I was considering, should he even be on this list? He's got to go up against the Lions offensive line twice a year, going to Chicago. But kind of taking that out of it, I think it's a perfect fit. And then at number 1, I got Malachi Corley to the Jets in the 3rd round. This was a pick that Braylon Edwards announced on the NFL draft stage, and we'll play here in 1 second. But I think it's the perfect landing spot for him. He gets to do exactly what he did in college at Western Kentucky. They have Garrett Wilson, their clear number 1. He can do it all on the outside. Mike Williams they brought in, although he's only going to play like 9 to 11 games this season, he is that deep threat. So they got the deep threat. They got everything over the middle and every route you could run in Garrett Wilson. Now Malachi Corley can do his yak. He can be that gadget guy in the slot, out of the backfield. Aaron Rodgers can just try to find some way to find him, get him the ball within 5-10 yards and let him do his thing after. The way the new rules in the NFL have changed, I liked yards after catch guys in this draft because it's becoming harder and harder to tackle, especially big-bodied receivers. He's not tall, but he's a strong man. He's going to be tough. I think the Jets were a perfect landing spot. Obviously, with the Jets in general, we got to see how it all works, but I have faith that their defense is so good, their offense is going to figure it out. So Blake Corum, Austin Booker, and Malachi Corley. JB, if you could play before we talk about this, if you could play Mr. Braylon Edwards from Woodward Sports Network announcing the 65th pick in the NFL draft.
Yes, sir. Detroit, we in the building. Born and raised in Detroit, so it's glad to see my city doing so good. Also, shout out to University of Michigan. Go Blue. Now it's time to get on board. Go Blue. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. JETS. The Carolina Panthers have traded the 65th pick to the New York Jets. With the 65th pick in the 2024 draft, the New York Jets select Malachi Corley, wide receiver out of Western Kentucky. Let's go, Jets.
Braylon!
Yeah, Bray.
Just Ryan Armani ready.
That was courtesy of Ryan Armani's Twitter. I know this is aside from the list. I got goosebumps hearing Braylon announce a wide receiver to the New York Jets. That was awesome. I know someone said in the chat, was it Xavier D? Oh, no, Chase Hamley. Braylon Allen. I was thinking about him, too, as a wingman to Breece Hall. But I sort of just factor that. That's even more value to Malachi Corley. But nonetheless, what do you guys think of this list? Agree, disagree? Anything that stands out?
I'm surprised you didn't pick Lad McConkey.
Lad McConkey.
Yeah, I thought you would have. Wait, no.
I was thinking about it. For sure, I think it's a phenomenal fit. He's not as big as Keenan Allen, but he can step right into that role.
Is he your man crush
challenge
Monday?
yourself?
Man crush Monday.
Maybe. Maybe.
All right. Well, I actually really like your list. I mean, Blake Corum as the backup to Kyron Williams with that offensive line, which they've invested heavily in with like re-signing Kevin Dotson, who's one of the best guards in the game. Steve Avila was a day one starter last year. Jonah Jackson. Blake Corum as that change of pace back, a guy between the tackles. I don't think he's ever going to be like a starter in this league, but he's going to give you some between the tackles carries. He's going to fall forward. He's a guy who's going to be able to see these blocks and how they develop and just make plays. I think a lot of his athleticism was robbed due to injury, but in this situation, it's perfect. I think Austin Booker is probably going to have to start day one, honestly.
He might.
They've got Montez Sweat and nobody. And I mean nobody at the other outside edge. I'm not necessarily sure if that's the best thing for him right away. However, he was the PFF ranked 88th prospect. He was drafted at 144, and he's desperately needed on the Chicago Bears. They kind of did what the Atlanta Falcons did, which is make some picks earlier on to invest in their offense, which the Falcons shouldn't have done, and the Bears did do and should have done. And then they get their edge rusher in a later round. Falcons got Braylon Trice, and which they needed, and the Bears got Austin Booker, which they needed. Number one, though, when I really looked into it, I think you have a better number one than I do in terms of fit. I'm dead ass serious because you've got Aaron Rodgers, you've got Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams on the outside. And then you've got Malachi Corley as just that college slot demon, 5'10", I think it's going to be him or Roman Wilson who are going to end up being the best slot receivers in this draft. They basically got Aaron Rodgers his Randall Cobb for these next couple of years. That's basically what they did. At least what his production could be, at least in the immediate. And this Jets offense, I'll tell you what, a lot of people, they might win the division.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. They might win the division.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, stay upright. How about that?
Yeah, Olu Fashanu in the first round. Like, that is a phenomenal pick. We were talking first rounds on this, but they needed to address that offensive line. They did. Somewhat.
Hey, Morgan Moses in free agency, Tyron Smith as well. I mean,
yeah.
Malachi Corley, that's a really good fit. After I made I like Edgerrin Cooper as my number one as the player better, but Malachi Corley as the perfect kind of wide receiver that this team in particular needs that can help make life easier on Aaron Rodgers. It's a good list, Broder. Very good list. Everybody had good lists.
Appreciate that. I know we got like 2 minutes before break. Let me just throw out some names, some other guys I had on my list, like just off. They were in consideration. What do you think about Kamari Lassiter?
Yes.
Go to the Texans, second round pick 42.
He's an honorable mention for me. Absolutely.
I honestly kind of wish I would have put him on. That's why a top three list is hard, because he was one of my favorite corners in the draft, and he went to a situation where, you're playing behind Jeff Okudah, but how long is that going to last? Is he going to overtake Jeff Okudah and be the number 2 corner next to Derek Stingley Jr.? He's got the talent to do so. I think that's a great pick by the Texans.
And their edge rushers, what they've done to the defensive line with Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Denico Autry. They got good linebackers. Like, it's a great spot for a cornerback to go in. What about Jalen Wright to the Miami Dolphins? He went in the 4th round, pick 120. Running back. He'll likely start as the 3rd behind Mostert and Achane. Mostert's got 1 year left before an out on his contract. Jalen Wright was, the 2nd fastest running back in the draft?
I mean, if they just want to, they're kind of creating a track team. And I don't necessarily blame them for trying to do so. And they filled a need with Chop Robinson. So it's not necessarily what I think is one of the best fits, but I see what they're doing. Surround Tua Tagovailoa with some of the fastest people. And in the case of like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, fast, productive people. Tyreek Hill, the fastest human being I've ever seen on a football field. But Jalen Wright, I mean, that kind of running back, and they've already got a couple good ones.
They added Malik Washington, too, in the 6th round. That was one on the list. Last one. What about Brendan Rice? Wide receiver out of USC going to the Chargers.
Yeah, they need help at that position. They lost everybody. Their wide receiver room was Josh Palmer and then nobody. And they got Ladd McConkey, and then they kind of doubled down with outside wide receivers with Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson, hoping one of them will fit. I personally think Brendan Rice is a better prospect than Cornelius Johnson, all due respect to Michigan man. I don't hate it. I think the Chargers had a sneaky, really good draft.
They did.
Yeah.
Nothing sneaky about it.
I saw some people in the chat earlier asking, like, hey, did the Chargers win the draft?
Maybe.
They went and they filled a lot of the holes, a lot of the deficiencies that they had for their squad.
Maybe.
May have the best bookend tackles over the next few years, too, with Joe Alden, Rashawn Slater.
Ooh, boy. Justin Herbert.
Yep.
No excuses for that, boy. No excuses.
Nope.
Well, I'm excited for this next segment. We're going to get back into the Lions. That question I asked earlier to Doc Maakaron about the the rematches from the playoffs. I said Packers. I meant Rams. It was Rams, Bucks, and it was 49ers. But we're going to talk about that when we get back. I want to ask you guys a couple questions about those games.
Definitely can't wait for it. But people, as always, we appreciate the support that you give, not just Wake Up Woodward, but the entirety of Woodward Sports Network, all of our hosts, all the people who work behind the scenes as well. We appreciate you guys. We Wake Up Woodward every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. with the whole entire starting five. Mr. Flannel Sam, our elite booth, Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG, Woodward Sports MVP, JBSMOOOOOV in the TD booth, Matthew Broder, our Lions and Tigers credential beat reporter, and your boy Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter. But after you are done listening to Wake Up Woodward, I hope that you guys stay tapped in the entire day. After us, it's Big D Energy, led by 4-time Stanley Cup champion winner, defender and guardian of Detroit, Darren McCarty, alongside his co-host, Neil Rule, the golden voice of Detroit. Followed by Armani and Edwards with Mass from 2 to 4 p.m. You got, I'm going to start it this way, the lovable radio legend Tom Mazaway alongside Detroit media legend or king Ryan Armani and University of Michigan legend and former NFL wide receiver Braylon Edwards. And after that, you guys already know, you finish off the day with the Woodward heavyweights. The big fellas are bringing you guys the biggest interviews, the biggest breakdowns, obviously the biggest laughs. It's the Woodward heavyweights. Thank you guys for making Woodward Sports your #1 digital sports outlet. We appreciate you all.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. The same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Let's drive right down Woodward Avenue. What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off your day with the entire Woo crew in the building. And shout out to Justin over here doing marvelous work for us. He's off screen.
Justin,
hey, you're a young goat, bro. Keep doing what you do. For real. Definitely, man. Definitely. Just real quick. Justin said he wants to do anything and everything he can for the network. That's why I want to make sure that we definitely shout you out as well as everybody else here behind the scenes who might not get the FaceTime. But Broder, you got some questions for us. And
I do.
And if we have to, I want to be able to put this as well into the mailbag segment as well.
Okay,
Because I know we got the electrifying segment after this one, and then if we get a little bit more time to kind of talk about these top 3 matches, we can get into that as well.
Okay, then we'll introduce it this segment. Actually inspired by the man, the myth, not the myth, the legend, Eduardo O'Neill in the chat. We were talking on Twitter a little bit yesterday. He says, what about something like this? So I'm going to ask you guys the rematches of the Lions playoff, 2 playoff victories and 1 playoff loss last season. Home against the Buccaneers, home against the Rams, away at the 49ers. We don't know when they're happening on the schedule, but we know that's who and where they're going to be playing. Which one of these 3 rematches are most exciting to you, and which one do you think is going to be the most important to this Lions season? Let's hear some predictions, some skepticism, some analysis.
Well, for me, I'll make it easy. I think both is the rematch with the Rams. Obviously, there's the Stafford factor coming back to Ford Field in the regular season. We'll see what kind of reception that he gets now that it's not a do-or-die game, and we obviously know some things happened lately with like the offseason and whatnot. It's just the Rams. One thing I'm kind of I'm intrigued to see if they got better or how much better they got, because I think they had a pretty damn good draft as well. Getting Jared Verse, getting Braden Fisk, getting Blake Corum, you got Tre'Davious White as in a free agency. Obviously, the development of like guys like Puka, who had a historically great rookie year last year. I like what the Rams are doing. And as much as I don't want them to do well and come into Ford Field and kind of ruin the party, the Lions ultimately got the prize by winning in the playoffs last year. Game recognized game, and as Lions fans seeing what Brad Holmes has done, we should also be looking at what the Rams have done with Les Snead, kind of going from F them picks to bottoming out to having 4 phenomenal rookies that made them back in the playoffs. They're an intriguing team to me.
Definitely. Kool-Aid, what's most exciting to you, or what's going to be the most important game to the Leones?
I believe the most exciting game is the one against the Rams, and not just to see what the Lions fans are going to do, but why they're going to either boo or cheer Matthew Stafford. If you just kind of have what happens in the playoffs, and then you come this season and that's the game, but we've had so much other commentary, so much other little noise in between the playoff game and to this point that I wonder if where people were before, where they were saying, listen, we're gonna cheer him. He deserves this and that. Since that, we've done a couple shows on this, and the chat has actually surprised me. Now I'm wondering, what type of reception is Matthew Stafford going to get? And then obviously the game within the game on the actual field. I believe it's a test for the Detroit Lions to see where they're going to be able to measure up. But to me, the most important game, I keep kind of going back and forth between this. I feel like it's the 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
But they're the team that I want it to matter most when you meet them in the playoffs. That, to me, is the game that I want them to win more than anything else, obviously, because I believe that that's the last test for them to be able to hurdle the NFC and get into the Super Bowl. So my most exciting, it's going to be the Rams, but the most important, I really, really, really believe it's that 49ers game.
Go, JB Smooth. What are you most excited for? What's the most important game? The rematch for the Lions.
Rematch? Most exciting. I know we're all going Rams, but I'm kind of going Seahawks on this one.
No, the rematches.
Beat them.
Rematches. Hello.
It's technically a rematch.
You guys talking about playoff games and other games. The 3 rematches from the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the 49ers. We got guidelines. We got borders. Let's color in between those lines.
My bad.
But
on
beat
that
the Seahawks.
Yes, of course, beat the damn Seahawks.
Beat the damn Seahawks.
I'm with you 100%, JB. I'm with you.
I misunderstood the rules there, but yes, it's definitely going to have to be the Rams.
You're not wrong.
And the 49ers on that one. As Kool-Aid has said before, you've gotten all this praise that Matthew Stafford is supposed to come back home and get whatever this tribute video is. Play it at the beginning of the game, call it quits. After that, then we can start booing the hell out of this man once again. We're not booing your kids, we're booing you. Let's keep that in mind. And then it is the 49ers, of course, because you know what? Revenge will be so sweet this year, guarantee. We had your ass that first half. This third quarter on, yeah, we let it slip away, but we won't let that happen this time. So, yeah, it's the Rams and the 49ers.
KG, what about you?
F all that Stafford stuff. I'm done with Stafford, bro. Like, and I'm somebody who was a Stafford apologist for many years, but I'm sick of it.
Is it all that extra noise?
Done.
Huh?
We sent him home. It's done, man. I'm sick of the Stafford noise. The most important and most exciting game is the 49ers on the road. Listen, we are returning to the scene of the crime. We're on the road. We got to go fight those demons, and we're going to learn early on if the Lions can overcome and conquer that in the regular season, because we are going to meet them again in the playoffs, hopefully at home. So this is the game. Like, screw all the Stafford talk. The Bucks game was only a thing because of CJ for real. It is the 49ers. It's always been the 49ers. You beat them in the regular season, put some on their mind for the playoffs, and take our goddamn power back, man, because being up 17 in the NFC Championship game and losing that, man, it don't sit right with me, and it shouldn't sit right with anybody in that locker room. So I'm done with the Stafford noise. Bring me the 49ers.
AG, you needed wrestling entrance music right before your take, bro.
I'm cutting promos over here, man. I ain't playing.
Now you need to hit that Stone Cold glass shattering as soon as you
get. We've seen enough of Stafford. They played Stafford when we sucked the 2021 season. We beat them in the playoffs when it mattered. That storyline is done. He can say what he wants at this point. Who cares? Who cares? The man Jared Goff has done things that you couldn't even sniff. Like, I'm over it, man.
Just one quick question before we get to Broder. I do got to ask you, when did you lose the love for Stafford? Was it, the stuff with Kirby? Hey, you're a dirty player. We got it on tape and crying about that. Was it the noise after the game? Has it been the noise since the game?
To me, my love for Stafford ended once he got his Super Bowl, man. Because, like I said, I wasn't a Stafford apologist for many years. Matthew Stafford just being absolutely real. I know Stick won't agree with this, but he did not have all of the things that he needed to get the job done here. And that wasn't his fault. That we were dealing with an organization that was just stagnant and that were just not in the right place for many, many years. He had to endure that. Once he got his Super Bowl and he went off into the sunset, I was through with that. That chapter's closed, man. I'm about what's happening right now. And Jared Goff is the right now. He's got us not only the division that we've been seeking, but 2 playoff games after that, and was 1 half away from a Super Bowl. I'm riding with Goff, man. Our time is now, man. I'm done with Stafford.
You're the man of the people right now in the chat,
Thank you, man. Had to get that off my chest, man. I'm sick of hearing, what's the reception going? Who cares? We know he's going to get booed. Like, there's no doubts about it. All this stuff that he's done since that playoff game and during the playoff game, he's going to get booed. Mark my words. He's going to get booed.
I'm with KG on both of them. I'm with KG on both of them, and we got to get to break. But before I'll read Burn, thank you so much for the $5 donation. He says, Stafford broke up with this man. He went on vacation and behind our back found a new girl. That's right. Hater. Cheater. Villain. Maybe he shows up on the Big D top 5 villains. Who knows?
Are you going to save your response for
No, it was San Francisco. Both
San
games.
Francisco. Okay.
Yeah, agree with KG. We got to get to break, though. What's trending with JB Smooth?
That's right. Where are we going?
We're going with
you guys.
And Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest you. Catch Woodward Sports Network live from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi every other Monday.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
What's good, man? How you doing? What you got for me today? Let's have a look, man. I see the one I want right there. That's the one I'm looking for.
Welcome to the winner's circle, Blake. Hey. Figer Law. All we do is win. All we do is win.
Cookies, crispy chicken and pizza. They are taking over Michigan. Locations are actually popping up all over Metro Detroit. They're even doubling the number of restaurants this year. So shout out to them. They are known for their quality hand-battered and hand-breaded chicken tenders, sandwiches, and New York style pizza. Also got the Nashville hot pizza as well too. But be sure to stop in and try one of their mega stations near you, or as always, you can order online at Sorokis.com.
Let's rock. Wake up, Woodward. What up, though, people? Welcome back. We appreciate you guys for supporting us. What you got over there, KG?
Oh, no, man. I'll just rock
Say the tagline. Wake up
out of your sleep.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, we're so close to our likes goal. Definitely go ahead and smash that like button. You guys already understand our last two segments. Some of the most electrifying. We got what's trending as well as Mailbag presented by Feldman Automotive Group. So begin to get your mailbag questions in as well. But it's time for the most electrifying segment in sports entertainment. If you smell what JBSMOOOOOV is cooking with what's trending.
J Bizzle.
Let's rock.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What up, though?
Hey, what's going on? So, I got a couple videos for you guys. Apparently, last night, I don't think is quite possibly the best idea to score 6 goals on a team, but hey, that's just me. You're trying to win.
This is hockey.
This is the wildest fight I have ever seen in a playoff.
The referees getting some.
The referees are getting into this.
There were 10 total fights that game, according to Justin.
There were 10 total fights, because check this out as well, too. Like, this just got out of hand.
I love it.
It's a Royal Rumble.
How?
No.
Just how?
I love it.
Was it because you scored 6 goals on them? Like, I don't understand this. Do
in
better.
The playoffs. Do
like,
better.
This was just rough.
That's why, to be honest, we need more of this in hockey. As long as it doesn't get, like, guys don't get seriously hurt. Like, hockey needs fighting back. It maybe doesn't need it. I think it would enhance it at least a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah.
I wish they would let NBA players go, too, sometimes.
What? I don't know about that.
They ain't going to do nothing.
Do we really want another Draymond Green incident on the court, actually? I'm just saying. Instead of in practice.
You know what? Sometimes you got to let them go.
Yeah.
But they ain't going to do nothing. The only one I think would have really did something is probably Isaiah Stewart after LeBron James.
Other than that, he was gonna get with LeBron. I don't know if he would have won, but he was gonna get with LeBron.
Because what happens in an NBA fight if the people holding the guys back just say, you know what? Let's let you go. Them boys, they're gonna turn into that meme and they're gonna be all up with each other like, brother, you smell magnificent. There ain't no real fights going on in the NBA.
No.
No real fights in the NBA.
At least you have someone, your friends back there. Hold me back, man. Hold me back. I'm not going. Well, no. All right. Moving on. KG.
What up?
Got to calm down. Can't get too excited about this because this just happened. This is some news that dropped yesterday.
All
but
right.
apparently, since we did so well of a good job here in Detroit for the draft, Commission has put in for a bid for WrestleMania 43 at Ford Field.
Let's go
for 2027.
Oh man,
we already know how Detroit gets down. They'll handle it well.
I need that to happen, man. I got a story, man. I was supposed to be at the last WrestleMania that was here, WrestleMania 23. I believe that was in 2007. I had won a contest. I believe it was in the Detroit News. They had like a contest where you write an article and you get free tickets. Turns out I ended up winning the tickets, but nobody was at home to claim them. My parents weren't home. They had to work. I got home late from school that day. I went on the answering machine, heard the message, tried to get back in touch with the Detroit News, never got the tickets. So
what?
Yes, and I missed. That was one of the most underrated WrestleManias. Like I don't think WrestleMania 23 gets talked about enough. You had Shawn Michaels and John Cena, Batista, Undertaker. That was the hair versus hair match with Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Yep, I do remember that.
I remember that.
That WrestleMania was lit, man, and I think we packed at least like 85,000 people in Ford Field for that last one. If they do WrestleMania again here in the next few years, man, it might be even bigger than that one was. So shout out, man.
Ooh,
Yo,
shout out.
Let's make this happen, man. Detroit did their thing with SummerSlam. They did their thing with the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. They definitely held it down with the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
They held it down with the NFL draft. Definitely for sure. This next video is the number one reason why I can never be a coach. Don't ask me to coach your kids. Just don't. Little man doesn't even know where he's running.
He's just running.
Every other kid in this video is getting knocked out. Like, the more you watch this video,
Flannel's having
like,
flashbacks
what is
to
happening?
teaching days.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those were
what is
dark
happening?
days.
But when I was in Germany, I had to coach the kids team, like this age kids, so they didn't understand English.
Yeah.
Man,
And I don't know where I'm going with that, but
just don't ask me to coach. Like the kids aren't paying attention. My man just got hit in the face with a baseball. Like
it's chaos right now.
This is
Bro, they got
chaos.
me cracking up.
Don't ask me to coach.
They don't
I'm
even know how to
sorry.
speak English. I don't know where I'm
This
going
why
with
It
this.
should be a slight age limit to when you put your kids in sports, because that age they just really don't really comprehend much of anything. They just want to have fun.
Yeah,
So,
it's like if your kid don't know the sport, don't put them on a team where they need them to already know the sport. It's different to like teach them the skills, you know, and make sure that they're progressing. But it's crazy, man. I've run a couple basketball camps, and I'm like, this kid shouldn't be out here. Like, I'm just sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't mean to be
These
mean.
kids shouldn't be out here.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, this last video, I'm actually gonna let you guys pick on this one. Do you want to go softball or do you want to go gender reveal? Which one?
Good Lord.
Softball or gender reveal?
That sounds like the same category.
Right.
Cracking me up.
Softball.
Softball?
I guess.
All right.
I guess.
Nice one. All right, we'll go softball on this one. I
goodness.
don't know why you didn't tell me that softball could be dangerous.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
So the video on the right shows a girl about to go for a pitch and bam, hit right in the face.
Oh.
And as you can see her picture on the left, yeah, that's what happened afterwards.
There you go, brother.
Yeah, can you just send that to Stephen A. Smith, please? Just send it on over. No, hey, I would never in my life want to play third base or catcher.
Yeah.
First base was already.
corner. Yeah.
You had your moments. You got infield in. You got a big lefty up. Like, you're thinking about what might happen once you're unalived.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would need to wear a helmet if I'm on third base. I'm sorry.
Screw that. I'm
You wearing a whole face mask, huh, JB?
Give me the whole face mask. There's no way my eye is going to end up like that. I'm sorry.
Do you guys know the name John Olerud?
Yeah,
Former first
wore a
baseman?
helmet. Yeah, wore a helmet at
he would
first
wear a
base.
helmet at first base. I'm surprised more don't.
Yeah.
Or they haven't come up with the technology, or they tried a couple years ago for pitchers to wear hats with padding and whatnot. It didn't really work, but I don't know. Hey, baseball and softball, it is dangerous.
Yeah, and Stephen A. Smith is a bum for what he said, by the way.
Thank
Especially
you.
using Mike Trout as an example. Go to hell. Go to hell.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Damn.
You casual, know-nothing baseball guy. You might know something about the NBA, but that's about it.
Load management.
Maybe.
Load management.
Yeah, you're like, even that's a stretch.
But that's it for what's trending, you guys.
That's it. Hey, great job as always, JB, with what's trending. Do we go right to the mailbag now?
Yeah.
Let's go right to it. It's time for mailbag presented by Feldman Automotive Group. Brother, have you seen any interesting mailbag questions?
I sure have. A first question for our Feldman Automotive mailbag comes from Silky Johnson. He asks the crew, who is one athlete that you hate for no reason? Not on a rival, just a random guy you hate for whatever reason.
Well, Dylan Brooks for me.
That's a good one.
It's the antics, man. He tries too hard to be that villain, bro. I've never could stand it. Even if the Pistons had got him, I wouldn't have liked it. It's just Dylan Brooks for me, man. And it's a lot more, but that's the first one that comes to mind.
Ooh, that's a good one, man. That's a really good one. I'm trying to think. Flannel, you got one?
Steph Curry.
Hey,
really?
Wait a minute.
Come on, your opinion. I just want to hear why. Wow, I didn't actually. He's like the most likable guy ever.
I disagree.
The fun police.
No. My thing is that, first off, Steph Curry is as cocky as anybody on the court. The shimmy in, the nap, all that bullshit when he hits a shot.
You would be too.
No, I wouldn't.
If you were God's gift of three-pointers, yes, you would, Sam.
You know what my problem is with Steph Curry? And I'll just be honest. He gets put in conversations that he does not belong. If you want to say he's a borderline top 10 player, I will agree with that. If you want to even say that he's the second best point guard, even though technically he's not a point guard, but technically after Magic Johnson, and put him over Isaiah Thomas, I will listen. But the reality is that's fine. That's fine. I would tend to agree with you more than not. It's just Steph Curry has 4 championships and 1 Finals MVP. He is not in LeBron's stratosphere all-time ranking, and that's my and that's my problem.
Okay,
that's my problem.
I can live with that. Bro.
Okay,
Kool-Aid.
I just want to say LeBron James, but you said we can't pick a rival. He was with the Cleveland.
You can pick him.
LeBron James, man. LeBron James. I'm telling you, look, it's highly irrational. I do believe that he is the second best player of all time.
Fair.
I really do. But I just don't like the dude, man. I feel like he's tried to call the shots. He's tried to manufacture too much. And with how great a talent he is, he hasn't had to really do that. Go out there and do it like some of the old guys did. Instead, with all of that talent, you're one of those guys that spearheaded the super team era.
That's technically not true.
The
I
Celtics
did it first.
Yeah.
With has-beens, not with the best players.
Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett were not has-beens. Come on.
They were not your top 20 players
They
in the
weren't
league.
has-beens till they went to Brooklyn.
They were not your top 20. They went to Brooklyn like a few years later. They were has-beens.
but-
They were not in their prime when they did that. They were not in their prime. You talk about the best players at their positions. You talking about all pros.
But why does LeBron get so much hate? He
All-
was a
all
free
NBAs.
agent. He was a free agent. Why does he get so much hate for that?
Because he wants to be compared against people who did it differently than he did it. You're never going to get that platform.
Okay, but this wasn't turned into a LeBron conversation, but I guess it did. You know who they drafted for him when he was at Cleveland? Luke Jackson, Shannon Brown, Daniel Boobie Gibson, JJ Hickson, Christian Ayanga, Danny Green. Danny Green before he became a very valuable role player. And again, if you want to put MJ over LeBron, I don't hate you for that.
Yeah.
I personally have LeBron over MJ, but as long as it's 1-2, I'm cool with it. They got him Scottie Pippen. And all this, Isaiah Thomas did it all by himself. They drafted guys like Dennis Rodman and Joe Dumars and got him Bill Laimbeer and stuff
for
like
the
that.
microwave. Like,
That's
come on.
the thing. The roster construction in Cleveland was not. No player could win with that.
And he was there for 7 to 8 years.
And he had a lot to
couldn't
do
get
behind the
nowhere.
scenes. He had a lot to do behind the scenes. I know that they just put out that post that nobody's believing right now. That I ain't had nothing to do with the coaches getting fired or hired. I don't got nothing to do with players. I'm sorry,
sure
bro.
you don't.
You got a whole
He
agency
does.
that's out there running behind the scenes to make sure you can get the players on your team that you want. I'm sorry, bro. You're calling your own shots. And you got the best talent. In my opinion, he's the most talented player of all time, but he's the second best player of all time. And it's because of that type of stuff. I want a killer. That's the era of basketball I grew up in. And there's nobody in this room that can say LeBron is that killer.
He is
He's
a killer.
He is not a killer.
He has 5 game-winning shots in the playoffs. 5
He is
walk-off
not a
buzzer beaters.
killer. He
Yes,
is not
he
a killer. No, he's not.
It's not something
He
you can
needs
quantify, Kool-Aid.
Everything. He needs everything. And, you know, with my 4th kid, you know what? We're back into diapers. We're back into the powder. We're back into you need the diaper cream. He needs all of that. Then he's a killer.
Oh, so he needs diaper cream. You're comparing LeBron James and what he needs to your infant child.
He has to be babied.
Your
That's been
infant
LeBron.
child is as
He's
big
been
of a
babied
killer
by
as
the
LeBron.
refs. He's been babied by his organizations. He's been babied by the media. He's been propped up when it hasn't been necessary.
He's not been babied by the media. He's literally the most criticized athlete of all time. If he says one wrong thing.
Pointedly criticized by certain individuals, but largely, the media as a whole has propped up LeBron James.
I see. It all depends. There's some people.
I want a killer. He was not a killer.
He is a killer.
I
And you
saw
know,
Dwayne Wade in his same era win with worse talent. Statistically, and you will love this one, he got less help Dwayne Wade did in 2006 in the finals than any final series that LeBron James has played in. The points, the steals, the rebounds, I'm telling you, I've done this math 10 times over. I've done this research. Dwayne Wade did in LeBron James era what LeBron James has never and will never do. And that's go out there and will your team as the killer. Dwayne Wade's a killer. LeBron James is a pretty good player. Good job, brother.
A pretty good player.
Good
You said he's the
job.
second best player ever. Now you call him a pretty good player.
Hey, some of it is going to be irrational. It has everything to do with the fact that he put himself in that position. If you went out there and
So we
you
just
did what
throwing out
Dwayne Wade
2016,
did,
huh?
if he did what Dwayne Wade did, then all that I have to say is moot. But he didn't, and that's his own fault. And you know what? LeBron lovers hate that that's the narrative. Go be a killer. Everything that y'all wanted to say that LeBron James needed, Dwayne Wade sitting back, but my ring before LeBron James decided to join my train is exactly what people said. LeBron, you can't do that in this era. You need everything that LeBron James has had. Give him the diaper cream. Give him the baby powder. Give him the sheepskin diapers. He needs everything just to make it. Let his agency just operate the way that he wants to. Get coaches in here, then later blame the organization. Get the players you want, then later blame the organization. I'm sorry, bro. He's not a killer. He's a really good basketball player, but he's not a killer. We've seen killers in this league. He's not that.
That's nothing you can quantify. You can, and for the record, I will give you that. Dwayne Wade had one of the most phenomenal finals performances
With
of all time.
a little bit of help in those finals.
In those finals, certainly. In the regular season, he had help, but in the finals, yeah, Shaq was certainly he was not prime Shaq. He was the second banana. I just on the Miami Heat, LeBron was the man. Yes. No doubt about it. Dwayne Wade averaged 16 points in the 2013 playoffs. I'm just saying. Look, obviously, I'm not discrediting that. Like, when you say LeBron James is not a killer, I push back at that. When you say that Dwayne Wade's finals performance was phenomenal in 06, I have nothing to argue against that. I don't. It's just what LeBron has accomplished since then. I mean, Dwayne Wade, in terms of all-time rankings, isn't even on LeBron's, can't even, sniff his jock.
But he got that one ring without a super team. And that's always going to hang over the legacy of LeBron James because super team era became a real thing. I'm talking about when you got the all-NBA players joining up, not the all-stars, the all-NBA players. That's different than what Boston Celtics did. They weren't combining your top players at the positions.
Kevin Garnett was a top player.
In the Eastern Conference, was Dwayne Wade not the best shooting guard? Was Chris Bosh not the best power forward? Was LeBron James not the best small forward?
Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett were better than Chris Bosh. I'll just say that. Chris Bosh was a good stats, bad team guy. And Chris Bosh was valuable to those teams.
Chris Bosh was a walking 23, 24, and 10. He was a walking
on the Raptors.
He was
to discredit LeBron. Now he's Duncan, basically. That's anything to discredit LeBron. It's fine. Like I said, if you want to put MJ above him, I don't even hate it. As long as they're 1-2 on your list, I'm cool with it.
Hey, I will always say this. My comments, they are within the sanctity of the fact that I do believe LeBron James is second best. And I love Kobe.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's difficult for me to do that. But when you're talking about the greats of all time, it's going to come down to splitting hairs. That's just how I look at it. I don't think it's going to be something that's just as easy as, you know what? He did this, so it's... I think that you're going to have to get into splitting the hairs because the eras, they do change a lot. The rules, changes that happen over time, the ability to let LeBron James crab dribble and all of that type of stuff and travel and score 25 freaking straight points against the Detroit Pistons. I'm still mad about that.
Really mad
I'm pissed, dog.
Really upset about
LeBron and Boobie Gibson crushed my dreams, man.
No, it did. Absolutely.
Goodness.
And by the way, LeBron's the only player who ever whined, the only player who ever traveled, and the only player who ever flopped. He's the only one. The only one.
Of course.
The only one in the history of the NBA.
Well, duh.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
So JB, your opinion on your opinion on your most hated player, just for whatever reason, your opinion says so.
I was not expecting that question to go that far, but all right, yeah.
This is the last one.
I probably got to decide with LeBron James. And what's so bad is I was actually a fan of him during his rookie season, but I think what switched me off was the whole Miami, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach, the whole thing that you just tried to make bigger than yourself of where you wanted to go and you're laying the spot. Then afterwards, it was just kind of a snowball of him just being the show off. So, yeah, I was a fan of you, LeBron, but not anymore.
I hear you, JB. Mine, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and this is our last part of the Feldman Automotive Group mailbag.
LeBron James?
No, it's an old rival of the Pistons. Antoine Walker of the Boston Celtics. There's just something about him.
Good one.
He had the little Steph Curry shimmy, and he was. I mean, he doesn't get credit for. Yeah, well, he's kind of inconsistent, but he was a damn good player for a handful of years. There was just something I hated about him. He and Paul Pierce on that team.
A lot of people hate Paul Pierce too.
Yeah.
Which one of them got stabbed? Was it Paul Pierce or Antonio?
It was Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce. Okay.
Yeah, Antoine Walker. Oh my word.
Right?
Yeah. That was the one. That was the one.
You could say Big Shot Bob too, but there's actual reason for that.
Yeah.
But hey. Silky Johnson, thank you for sponsoring the Feldman Automotive Group mailbag segment.
That got out of hand quick.
It was great. Hey, a little passion never hurt anybody.
Now, the problem with Antoine Walker is he's not any good. He's a 6'9" guy who shoots like 41% for his career.
But then acted like Steph Curry after made shots.
But he killed us. He killed the Pistons back in the day. He had some good playoff series.
No, he had some good games.
Yeah, he's not likable.
I used to hate those Celtics teams.
Yeah. He's better than Dylan Brooks, too.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah. So it's not about better or worse. It's just who rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah, no, he was one of those guys, man. He was, definitely, if he was able to kind of have his game and his trajectory go as well as LeBron James, as kind of the path laid down, He could have been better than LeBron James, in my opinion.
I'm
playing flannel. Oh my God!
He was about to go off again. Did you see that look?
Flannel was about to launch.
Oh snap!
No.
Oh snap, man! He didn't even give me 1 second to be able to. Before I had to say, I'm just playing.
There's people that chat are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, of course."
Do we got time for one more, or is that a show?
It's up to you, Kool-Aid.
You know, if you see one more, we'll do it. Otherwise, let's wrap it up.
Well, then let's wrap it. Yeah,
let's rock it.
Never mind. Sorry.
Let's rock, man.
Oh my God.
Wait, what? Oh my God.
I'm just pressing buttons here, man. Let's go.
Shout out to George Eagle. You guys are awesome. I love this show. Eric Burrow, great show, everyone.
This is some good shit.
Shad, he said, I've always hated Vucevic. You know what?
Nikolai?
That's an interesting one.
That's an interesting one.
Dellavedova.
Why
you know
do
what?
you hate Vucevic, though?
With the Bulls, he used to freaking just
Magic Vucevic was
the
that.
Lopez brothers.
Deal,
oh yeah.
you hate the Lopez brothers?
I don't hate them, but it was just like we had Drummond for so long, and every single time they played, it didn't matter which Lopez brother. They were absolutely going to town.
Roy Hibbert.
That's another one. That's another one.
Oh my God, I can't stand Roy Hibbert.
So
Give me a reason why you like Roy Hibbert.
I mean, he wasn't that bad.
No, he was soft.
You probably loved it when his career just fell off a cliff.
Absolutely.
Like overnight, he became like a pretty. He was valuable to those Pacers teams, and then he just died basically.
Shout out to the show, Kill Oatmeal. Love y'all. See you on the next show. Thank you. And
big
again,
shout out to him.
Yeah, big shout out to you again. Condolences and prayers and thoughts to anybody going through anything. It's a safe space here with the Woo Crew. We appreciate you guys for supporting us always. I don't want to underestimate that. You guys are the best part of our day. We appreciate it greatly. So thank you guys. Let's break this thing down. Shout out to Justin as well, who stuck around the studio with us today. He's been doing a lot of work for us behind the scenes. The Woo Crew, as well as some of the other shows on the networks. Want to make sure that I shout him out as well. I'm gonna start with our elite booth, man. In the sound booth, Detroit's #1 draft pick, the real KG, in his prime, rookie of the year. Let's rock, man.
Hey, I ain't the big ticket. I'm the only ticket. So let's get it, man.
Bars.
Man. Oh, I do this shit, man. But love y'all, man. Let's finish the week strong.
Let's go. In the Titty Booth, we got Woodward Sports' MVP, Mr. JBSMOOOOOV.
Hey, another good show, fellas. Love doing this with you every single morning. We got to find a girl for Broder tomorrow. So
where did this come from?
Culture?
I need some, coach and culture.
Oh,
yeah,
Friday.
we got to get someone for you. So I got to think of some ideas.
And no,
you okay, brother?
And no melanated is not mulatto. Let's just
Honeydew.
Shout out to the vet of the squad, Mr. Flannel Sam Reynolds. Still, I think the only guy other than Stick to get me to really raise the volume a little bit. Shout out to Flannel.
Well, you're not the only person to get me to raise my volume. You're one of like 15, but
literally anybody can.
Jeez, Flannel's like, take a number.
No, but maybe it's all good though. I like a spirited debate.
Let's go. And Mr. Matthew Broder, our credentialed Lions and Tigers beat reporter, does a really good job as well with getting these shows laid out, getting some good ideas going. Thank you a lot, brother.
Thank you. Great show, boys.
Appreciate you
Thank you,
always. Hey, it's always the chat family. It's your boy Brandon Dent, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed Detroit Pistons beat reporter. We appreciate you guys greatly. Hope that you have a blessed day. It's been Wake Up Woodward.